according to this, let me go back to that article real quick. The new charging document seeks to revive the case that was stalled, weighed by Trump's immunity arguments. It's largely a 6-3 decision, blah, blah, blah. The new indictment seeks to rely on a distinction the Supreme Court drew between the president's private actions and actions that stem from the president's official powers, which now carry a large degree of immunity. And so, I guess, I don't know where they think they're going with this, but we've seen crappier cases go to trial, and they've all seemed to be against Donald Trump. And what we found out from I don't know if you guys were watching, if you had a chance to catch the Tucker interview with RFK, I caught some pieces of it, finding out that he's been tied up in court. Because, the Democrats they just want to save democracy, decided not only are they going after Trump, they went after RFK Jr. as well and tied him up in court to try and get him off the ballot. So.
Yeah. Well, I was working on the social media issues, which I think are now solved.
Oh, good.
Thanks to some help from Aaron and Fran and Parker over at Real America's Voice. I think we're streaming now live, so on all socials. So thanks, guys, for getting started here. But yes, Jack Smith is the typical. You look at what he did with Bob McDonald. You look at what he's done with other cases where the Supreme Court has looked and go, 9-0. But he's the typical fail upwards. There's no punishment. He's like the Fauci of legalese. It's like, I want that job. I want the job where I can be a total failure, and whoever my ultimate boss or whatever you want to qualify them as, the ultimate authority in looking at what I'm doing and debating how I'm doing, says, no, 9-0, you're overturned, and you ruin a guy like Bob McDonald in Virginia, and you fail upwards. There's no blowback for a guy like him.
Yeah, no accountability.
None at all.
It seems like to get a job like that, you have to work in the federal government.
It's about the only place you can do it. Exactly right. So, all right, we're off and rolling live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night. Slicksback's going to do some sports. Kevin Downey Jr., Rick Dogout, I got the news. Aaron Fran holding it down. And, of course, you, live from Studio 6B. Audience, we'll get into your comments on social media as well at LFS6B. Make sure you give us a follow. We're back with sports and get it kicked off right after this.
We're live in the Rumbler. Hello, Rumblers.
All right, we should be live on all social media. If there's any issues, make sure you let us know. Leave us a comment at LFS6B. YouTube, X, Twitter, Facebook, Kick, Rumble, Getter, wherever you are. If you're following one of our socials at LFS6B, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, thumbs up. We appreciate it.
Waddle.
I see no comments at all, so it makes me think we're still not right, but I don't know.
I see us, they're all saying, hey, thanks, Damon and the team for getting up and running. That's from GWW9547 on the Getter chat.
Facebook, thanking you for fixing it as well.
Tea Leaf, thank you, Damon, from the Getter chat.
I got nothing coming into the main chat here. Not a single comment coming in. So something's still not right. But as long as we're going out, that's the only thing that matters.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm gonna check the Twix right now. Looks like we are live on the Twix. Yep.
With your names, I don't even know what you're referring to anymore. What is Twix? Is that X?
Twitter. Yeah, Twitter X.
Twitter X is Twix. Got it. Okay,
Twix.
Got it.
Yeah.
Twix ball.
Stay with us.
It's weird that I'm getting nothing over here, Fran, huh? Totally blank.
Yeah, that's a new one.
Oh, boy.
Everybody unfriended you.
Thank you, Aaron.
All right, try refreshing because I'm seeing it on my end.
Okay. Refresh.
Ta-na-na-na.
It's the reflection.
Oh, okay. So it's refresh.
Yeah, that's the reflex.
Jack.
Gone too far this time.
Oh, yeah, it's streaming in on my
It's
end.
like Blue Moon on Monday, right?
I got absolutely nothing still. I don't know.
What browser are you using? Same one you always do?
Is that your computer?
Just, oh, boy.
You'll have to do what I do and open 6 tabs to watch all the chats.
Guess I'll have to go to the individual chats. I don't know.
That's
Or
why,
I'll
how
let the
I do it.
Let the
How do
guys
you do
cover it.
You have a
I get
main
it all in
thing?
one spot.
How do you do that? Because it doesn't work. I'd love
tell
to
you
see
how
how
to
it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's not. You don't want to know tonight because I get nothing. Absolutely not a single comment. Not one. The blank page.
So you fixed it.
I fixed us getting out, but
It's fixed in here.
There you go. That's all that matters. The control room.
Yeah, as long as Fran can read them and laugh at us.
That's it.
all right, 17 past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night. Technical difficulty night continues, but we're working through it. But we're getting out there. We're on socials. We're on Real America's Voice, of course. If you are watching us on socials, hit the like and subscribe. We appreciate it. Rick Delgado's here. It's going to do the news. Kevin Downey Jr.'s got some news as well. Slick is back. Slick, I missed the opening of the show to try to fix this. How are you? Welcome back.
Doing good, Big D. It's great to be back with everybody. Miss you guys.
I was talking to, hey, what do you think about this idea, Slick, before we do sports? I was talking to Aaron today. Here's what I think we do on the Odds Makers. We got a lot of people who sent in to be a part.
Yep.
We got 18 weeks of the regular season of NFL, right?
Correct.
So I think we're going to do just 18 people. Top 3 people who pick
In their week.
in their week
Right.
come back for the playoffs.
Oh, that's great.
What do you think of that?
I think that's great.
Instead of trying to find 21 people. I mean,
Right.
not that I wouldn't
but-
mind 21 people,
But you get your top 3 that they belong in the
but
playoffs,
that way
right?
that gives them a thing to perform, and then they come back for the playoffs.
Right. If they go 1-13 on a weekend, then they know they're
Right.
not going to, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that? You like
I
that?
love it. I love it.
Okay,
Absolutely.
very
Because
good.
the playoffs are going to be fire.
So NFL Week 1 is, I believe, September 9th.
Yeah, that's next week
A week
already.
from
From Thursday.
No, well, the Thursday's the 5th is the opening night. Friday the
Thursday's the
6th,
5th.
and then Sunday the 8th is the first full week.
Well, our first pick should be Thursday the 5th,
So
right?
the Thursday night
we'll
game.
pick that night before the game.
So the Week 1 person actually is going to have whoever that is. Well, that's going to be. Oh, we know who that's going to be. What am I saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a big picking week. So.
Yo, you already pulled somebody?
Yeah, we have a special guest. We have a
don't
special
you remember?
request. We're gonna.
All right. Make sure they're aware. You don't want to tell them like the
Oh,
day
they
of.
know.
you know.
No, they're aware.
They're aware.
Trust me, they're watching right now. They're aware.
Oh, okay. Maybe I know
They're
who it
aware.
is. I might know
and they've
who it
already
is.
said they're going to whoop you week 1 so bad
Wow.
you're going to even come back for week 2.
Let's go.
They said that.
Let's get it on.
Maybe he didn't
You remember
say
the
that, but
late great Mills Lane?
he
Let's
will
get it
say
on,
that.
Big D.
He will say that
He was
before the end of the night.
Just
so.
defending his
All right, Slick, let's do sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. LFS6B is the code to use. If you shop at MyPillow, we appreciate when you use it. Slick, what's going on?
All right, Big D, back to the scoreboard. Major League Baseball getting towards the end of the season here. We got maybe 4 weeks to go, 5 weeks, a little over 4.5 weeks. Angels and Tigers, no score. They're delayed in the top of the first. Probably a little rain there in Michigan. Kevin, check the Weather Channel there in your old state. Cubs 7-2 over the Pirates, top of the 5th. End of the 5th, Phillies blanking the Astros 4-0. Another rain delay. Royals and the Guardians go there 2-1. The Royals leading that. The Reds blanking the A's 1-0. Bottom of the 6th. It's a rematch of the 72 World Series. Nationals 3-0 over the Yankees, but better yet, it's a rematch of the 1990 World Series where the Reds swept the A's. Okay, forget that. A lot of people in Cincy don't. Red Sox 3-1 over the Blue Jays, middle of the 4th. Top of the 3rd, Braves lead the Twins 2-0. Bottom 2nd, Padres 4-2 over the Cards. The Giants and Brewers just underway, no score. Same there. Rangers and White Sox in the rain delay as well, no score. Marlins and Rockies 8:40 first pitch. Mets out in Arizona taking on the Diamondbacks tonight 9:40. Rays in Seattle taking on the Mariners 9:40. And the Orioles visit the Los Angeles Dodgers 10:10 first pitch. U.S. Open right here, Big D, Flushing, Queens. A lot of eyes on the tennis world on New York right now. And let's see, Yannick Sinner just slipped by. Got off to a rough start early on in the men's, but ended up pulling it out. We'll see what his scores were. 6-2-6, 6-2, 6-1, 6-2. Carlos Alcaraz, world number 3, is right now in a match against 6-2, 3-3. We'll keep an eye on that. Stefanos Tsitsipas, world number 11, was upset earlier today as well. And like I said, world number 1, Yannick Sinner, was up. I'll give you the ladies' scores coming up next. Want to get to one quick story, and Pat McAfee's like a lightning rod for these guys, you know. Bill Belichick was on today, and he riles fans by calling Bay State Taxachusetts. This is Warner Todd Houston of Breitbart. Former New England Patriots coach Bill Belichick did not hold back on Monday when he called the state of Massachusetts Taxachusetts, and added that the state's high tax rate makes it harder to get good players on the team. Have you heard that one, Big D? You're from up in that area. During a segment on the Pat McAfee show, Belichick said that the state was not helping the Patriots. Belichick spent 24 seasons with Patriots and brought home 6 Super Bowl championships, but he feels that will be harder to do from now on, especially because of the greedy state's millionaire tax of a 4% surcharge on income exceeding $1 million. That's Taxachusetts, Belichick snarked. Virtually every player, even the practice squad, even the minimum players, are pretty close to $1 million. So once you hit the $1 million threshold, you pay more state tax in Massachusetts. He wanted to say just another thing you've got to contend with in negotiations up there. It's not like Tennessee or Florida or Nevada or some of these teams that have no state income tax. You get hit pretty hard on that with the agents. They'll come and sledgehammer you down about the tax, saying they're paying. We don't get any benefit from that, Belichick continued. Even though he is no longer coaching the Patriots, Belichick still resides in the high tax state, and even recently bought a $4.8 million home in Nantucket, in the New York Post reported. While Taxachusetts does have higher taxes, the state does not top the rogues list. According to the finance website Wallet Hub, Massachusetts is the 20th highest for its total state tax burden of $8.55 annually, excluding the 4% surcharge Belichick was discussing. The top 5 worst states are, get ready, guys, New York, of course, Hawaii, Vermont, Maine, and who else? California. So Bill Belichick, Taxachusetts, Big D, on the Pat McAfee show.
Yeah.
You heard it here. He's right, though.
I mean, taxes can never be high enough for states like that and governors like that and people like that who run these states. The taxes can never be high enough. Yep. And if Kamala Harris gets in, you can just imagine what the taxes will be. She wants to raise the... I saw today, I don't even know if this is real. I don't think it can be real. She wants to raise the long-term capital gains, something you've held over a year, to 44.8%.
What? No, that's got to be a joke.
I swear, I think I saw that graphic on CNBC in her tax proposal. 44.8%. Imagine holding something like NVIDIA stock or something for 10 years, and using money that you've already paid taxes on to buy it, holding it 10 years, having it go up, let's say who knows how much, and then having to pay 44.8%, basically wiping out anything you've made. You'll have nothing and like it.
Wow. Well, the 401k, right? That would affect your 401k, I would think.
It certainly would. It certainly would affect your 401k, your 403b, anything that you're holding that you've deferred the taxes on.
Yeah.
The government is the general partner in that deal. You're the limited partner, and they can change the terms at any time. It's not a great deal. And this is not a financial show, but this is why people have been converting to Roths, because most people believe taxes in this country have to go up, and it's not even a right-left thing. I mean, it is, but I mean, a lot of people in the financial world don't look at it that. They say it's a math problem. You can't be $35 trillion in debt, heading to $50 trillion in debt. And the median tax bracket in this country right now, compared to where taxes have been and where they would like them to be, is fairly low. And I know people will say, well, I'm overtaxed. Well, I know that. That's how it feels. But if you go back to other times in this country, taxes were at 70, 80. The median taxes were as high as, I think, 90%. Yeah, Bernie Sanders would like them there again.
Yeah, but people didn't actually... Basically, that was a goal, but very few people actually paid that rate. There were ways around it, and they figured it out, of course. But it was like nearly nobody paid that rate when you're talking about 90%.
Well, what I'm telling you is this: at 28 point whatever the median bracket is, and a lot of people fall in, those are reasonably low compared to where taxes have been in this country before.
Right.
There's not a single professional financial planner I've spoken to, and I've spoken to a lot of them, who don't think taxes in this country have to go up. Now, you're going to get the money printer turned back on here probably before the end of the year. You're going to get a rate cut in September that's going to do absolutely probably nothing, at least the first one, if not the first two. We're going to be if we're not already in a recession, we're going to be in a recession. The only question is, how deep is it going to be? I mean, this is, I know they think this rate cut's going to help Joe Biden or Kamala Harris before the November election. I'm not so sure about that. I think this economy is heading for rough waters in the last part of this year. And I mean rough waters. NVIDIA tomorrow is going to be the most, maybe the biggest earnings report ever. And if it doesn't do what people expect, you could have a bomb drop tomorrow at 4:30 in the market after hours.
Is it safe to go on the YouTube now?
All right, I got chat finally working. Hey, look at this.
Hey, going to go to YouTube right
All right, welcome on in. If you're watching us on social media, at LFS6B, hit the like, subscribe, $20 super chat. Yes, it's a math Marxist Americans taking hold problem. That's a good one.
Child of the king. Takes good care of us.
Appreciate the super chat. Great way to support the show.
Nice.
Kathleen on Facebook, hello. Bill on Facebook, hello. Hello, Slick. Ruby says on YouTube.
Yeah, Ruby Ivy. I'm responding right now, Big D. Love her.
Ruby Ivy.
Good.
Yep, Ruby.
Ruby Ivy.
Phil Coe on X, welcome. And thanks, Damon. Thank you. Welcome. Hello, Jeremy on Facebook. Partners in Hotels on YouTube. Hello. Hello, everyone. Jeff on Facebook. Hello. Have you seen the new Trump ad of Kamala debating herself? We played it on the show yesterday.
Yeah.
Great ad. Tommy Viper, what's going on? Hello, Lorraine on Facebook. Everybody on Facebook. Can't read them all. I'm sorry, they're going by so fast.
Gotta go fast, man. Oof.
Barbara on Facebook. Hello. Adam on Facebook. A lot of Facebook tonight. The Facebook numbers. Facebook just crossed over 117,000.
Wow, congratulations.
Damn.
Followers on Facebook. Keep that number going.
Small Town Barbie on the Rumble. Small Town Barbie. Razoo 76.
Beth, my eyes are good. Thank you for asking. Not perfect, but going in the right direction.
Big Jim Gumbo has a good question. Do we know who's in charge of the new codes now? No. I'm going to say no.
Tussie Fitzgerald. Slick Rick. Taxachusters is right. BB is correct. That'd be one Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick, yeah.
Yep. Taxachusetts. That is a high taxed area. Oof.
No, the whole Northeast is, the
Bill of Rights, 1776. Took him a while to get on the LFSB Rumble chat. Had to refresh multiple times. But now he's here. Welcome.
Sharon Tower says Slick and Kevin look like bookends.
Yeah, you're right.
That's true.
Good colors.
We look a little, we're kind of like all clashing here tonight.
Yeah, we got some good
There's no
look
notes
like a Crayola box.
There's no notes on stress here, as you can tell.
Good gravy.
All right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B, Real America's Voice on a Tuesday night. Glad you're in. Slick Rick's doing sports. Rick Delgado's going to do the news. Kevin Downey Jr., host of the Kevin Downey Jr. Show, is going to do some news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down. So, 38 days since she was installed as the Manchurian candidate here after winning no primary votes ever in her entire career. Kamala Harris has finally decided. Now, I think if you want to be the president of the United States for one of the two major parties and you get installed the way she was, nobody voted for her. Nobody wanted her when she put herself up in front of her own people. Her own party said, no thanks, but no thanks, baby. I already got more trouble than I need, as Delbert would say. They said no to her. Then she gets installed through this coup where they stab old Biden in the back, drag him out to the dog track, give him some oatmeal and say, later, Pops. And then she comes in. And then she takes 38 days to decide whether she even wants to take questions. And the pressure becomes so much that her team, if deciding what and where to do a simple sit-down interview with people who regularly lick your face anyways is such a chore, that alone should be disqualifying. The fact that they went through all of this to even get to announce that they're going to sit down, get ready, with Dana Bash on CNN, and Tim Walz is going to sit with her.
Good God.
It won't even be a solo interview.
Right.
She won't sit down by herself with lapdog Dana Bash. She's going to have Tim there with her.
Holding
Carry her water.
Holding her communist hands.
Yeah.
Working her like a puppet.
Yeah.
I'm going to defer to Tim on this question because I don't know the answer.
I mean, how pathetic is this? You're going to go to Dana Bash and you're going to bring Tim Walz with you?
To hit a softball.
Well, just in case Dana asks her a question.
Right.
Yeah. Or Don Lemon shows up and needs a tampon.
Tim
Also
with the
popular.
tips.
Also
Yeah.
possible.
I mean, that is weak, man.
Lame-o.
Usually you're supposed to, and we saw this with Trump and Vance, immediately after the convention is when you sit down with your new vice president, you do a quick interview, like it's immediate. This is like a week later. Everybody's forgotten about the convention. Everybody forgot that, oh, that's right, you guys spent 4 nights stabbing Joe Biden in the back and throwing him into a garbage pail, running him through the wood chipper.
We love Joe.
And then, right.
Yeah, right.
And
We
then all of a
love
sudden
Joe.
it's like, oh, now we're going to sit together. And
You see Nancy?
now we're going to sit together, and I'm probably not going to answer many questions because I want people, she's probably going to be like, well, I wanted the country to get to know Tim, so I'm going to have him do most of the talking because everybody knows me already. But they need to know Tim Walz.
It's all about the passage of Tim.
Yes.
This is what's important about the passage of Tim.
Dana, Tim is unburdened here,
He's like a Venn diagram of stupid.
Tim's happy to be unburdened here, Dana. What's your next question?
That's it? Okay, great. Thanks.
So our friend Bonchi over there at Red State says today about this news, the first thing that comes to mind is how absolutely pathetic this is. Harris went over a month without doing an interview as both the presumptive and official nominee, and after so much bluster, the best she can do is sit down with one of her biggest fans while having her running mate there to help prop her up. Making this a joint interview is very deliberate because they typically devolve into the interviewer asking about their personal relationship, something that's completely irrelevant to voters. Oh, how did you and Tim meet? When you guys go to dinner, where do you go? What do you like about her, Tim? What do you like about him? Come on. Every question about how much she likes Waltz and how she came around to selecting him is less time to ask her anything serious. And trust me, that is exactly what's going to happen, and Dana Bash will be more than happy to oblige. And I know, listen, I gave as much credit to Bash and Tapper for the first debate with Biden and Trump as anybody else did. And people will say, well, no, look at what she was in the debate. Yeah, this is not going to be the same. Not going to be the same at all. And Bonchi says, with that being said, Bash is such a hack that she isn't likely to ask any tough questions no matter how much time she's given. The examples of the left-wing anchor playing mouthpiece for the Democratic Party are numerous. The smart money should be on this interview being nothing but a slow-pitch softball season. And that's exactly right.
Yeah. You know what this kind of reminds me of? I don't know if you guys are fans of Everybody Loves Raymond, but it reminds me when Marie,
Raymond.
the mom, when Robert was going for that job, I think, with the FBI. And she got involved by sending over she brought over his suit and she cleaned his jacket, and then she went and contacted the guy, and here's his resume and all that stuff. This is what it's like. It's like bring your spouse to work day, so they can help you figure out how to work, because this is just this is embarrassing, right? Is this not embarrassing?
And this is what when is this going to be? Friday?
No, Thursday. Because it's for the long weekend, so you forget about.
Well, so Friday, and then what you'll see all day Friday is, now she's done a big time sit down interview. Yeah. So we can just take that question off everybody's.
Right.
Don't want to hear any more questions about that. Well, when is she going to sit down with anyone who will ask her a real question? Even, by the way, like as he points out here, Lester Holt, who is certainly a Democrat mouthpiece, but he might throw maybe a fastball once in a while, as he has in the past with others. She won't sit down with Lester Holt. They picked Dana Bash for a very specific reason. Tim Walz is going to be there for a very specific reason. They want to be able to say she did something, but they're not going to expose her. This is as good as not doing anything.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what? They're going to do another one before Columbus Day, because that's another long weekend before the election. That'll be the next one. It's like going to the prom with your mom.
Yeah.
It's terrible. All right, let's do some news.
I think Delgado did.
He's been to a lot of proms.
Junior prom.
To a lot of proms.
Yeah.
And sock hops.
And terrible concerts.
Yes.
With nobody there but him. Let's
There were a lot of
I wonder why.
There was what?
There were a lot of people there. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
I asked my son today, I said, are you familiar? I said, the basketball team that we saw at Spooky Nuke that had the huge crowd there, it was called Rod Wave Elite, right? He said, yes. I said, are you aware that there's a rapper called Rod Wave? He said, yeah, that's the basketball team's named after. I said, really? He says, yeah, I don't know why, but I think they named the basketball team after him. I said, well, Delgado just went to see him.
Was he
Said, why would he? Why? I said, I don't know. I don't know why.
You know why? I told you.
Well,
but not only that,
It's like father,
I
like
bet you
son.
didn't know. Little Dirk was there. Little Dirk.
Dirk Nowitzki?
No, Little Dirk.
Little
D-U-R-K.
Is that
You can
his
look
name?
him up.
That's his name?
Yes, that's his name. Rapper
Oh.
name. I don't think it's his given name. I think his mom.
How about his dad, Big Dirk?
Is that the guy from Boogie Nights?
And then
That wasn't Little Dirk.
42 Doug was also
Dirk
there.
Diggler.
Who?
42 Doug.
42 Doug?
42 Doug.
Most of all the
D-U-G-G.
rappers are Lil, except for Biggie Smalls. The
I
rest
like
of
to
them are all
start
Lil.
referring
Yeah,
to
he
myself
was a
with
big boy.
maybe a number in front of my 52 Big D. Does that sound good? No.
What is that, your waist?
No.
Shut up. Stop laughing. I want to refer to myself at some names. So, all right, well, we're going to do the news here before we start talking about Delgado's concert. So let's do the news brought to you by Seven Cells. And here with that is 42 Delgado. What's going on?
Kamala Harris seems to be the topic of discussion, at least when it comes to MSNBC. I got this clip from Jen Psaki, and she actually comes off a little upset when she brings on her old pal Don Lemon onto the show. He's been trying to start his own media career, restart his media career, and he's doing a lot of man on the street stuff. So he went out to talk to the people about Kamala Harris, and this is the report he brings back to MSNBC's Jen Psaki, which is kind of embarrassing.
She looks thrilled.
Yeah, check this out, cut number 2.
Was there anything, what did they think about Harris? Did they have anything to say about her?
They did have, listen, it depends on where you are. We went to a number of different battleground states in Pennsylvania, Ohio, we were in Michigan, Indiana, on our way, obviously, Illinois, on our way to Chicago. And it sort of depended on where you were. Pennsylvania, well, I shouldn't say Pennsylvania, I should say Philadelphia, was a bit more liberal, and the answers to the questions about her and him were quite different. But for the most part, in Pittsburgh or in the Jersey Shore and in Atlantic City, in Ohio especially, many people did not know who she was, right? They weren't familiar with her. So I think she has to reintroduce herself to the public.
Again?
But for him, I think that they thought that he's better for the economy. and that, again, that he gave them, that he brought money into the community, and that he was on black people's
who
side.
Booked this guy? Who booked him?
Did he look like Black Pee Wee Herman? I knew you are, but what am I? Not for selfies.
Unemployed. Anyhow.
When the head slowly goes like this and the mouth clenches together, you know she's thinking, who booked this guy on my show?
Did anybody go through his stuff to find out what the hell he was going to say? Because I saw a bunch of stuff on Twitter over the weekend where he was out talking to people, and everybody he talked to, like he mentioned, the Jersey Shore and into Pennsylvania and other places, all these people he assumed. And again, it's great because they assume, oh, well, this has got to be a Democrat. This has got to be a Harris voter. They're all like, Trump. And it was like, you could see him. He was trying to defend. And at one point, they're talking about the economy, and he starts advocating for the economy being great. He's like, no, you're actually doing better. He actually says, no, you're actually doing better under this economy. They're like, no, we're not. What are you talking about? So it's amazing that the talking heads and the propaganda machine on the left is just grinding itself into dust, because people can see right through exactly what they're trying to do.
By the way, why is it that we're supposed to take her as a serious person? I mean, she was one of the biggest propagandists that ever stood in that. She's responsible for the first 2 years of nonsense coming out of this administration, and now we just look at her and we look at this like a. Oh, yeah, Don Lemon's talking to a journalist. No, he's not.
He's talking to redheaded George Stephanopoulos.
And why do we take her seriously?
Exactly.
Give me a break.
Anyhow, the Trump campaign ripped into Kamala Harris, calling it total BS. But that's not the word Mr. Trump used, as Harris is now pro-border wall, according to the... did you catch this one? It is amazing. The Trump campaign on Tuesday pushed back against the narrative within the media that Vice President Harris is taking a more positive approach to border wall construction. How much longer will the mainstream media allow Kamala Harris to hide and use staff to speak on her behalf? According to National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign, Caroline Leavitt, it's day 37 with 0 interviews and Kamala's anonymous campaign sources. Axios ran a headline on Tuesday morning that accused Harris of flip-flopping on the border wall construction. It noted that Harris supported a bipartisan border security bill introduced in January. The bill pushes funding to the border while also authorizing the limits on asylum entries. Where have we heard that before? The package, which has the support of the Biden administration, which has so far failed to drum up enough support, also includes limited amount of funding for additional border wall construction.
Yeah, this is gaslighting to a new level, which we'll discuss a little bit more when we get back.
All right.
All right, live from Studio 6B. We're back right after this.
Kevin, Julie Tate in the YouTube chat. Pee Wee Lemon. Oh, that's a good one. I like that. It's got a catch there, yeah.
Pee Wee Lemon.
And I got to say hello to Chris Parman in the YouTube chat. He's going to Venmo me $1 million. I asked him if he'd cover the taxes. I'm waiting to hear back. So, Chris Parman, shout out to you.
Wow, $1 million, huh?
Oh.
Well, they offered $1 million, so just for hello, it's not bad. Good work for a day's work if you can get it.
Trust me, Slick doesn't need it. Venmo it to Studio 6B, not to Slick.
Come on, pour the money in, Big D. I don't care how it comes in. As long as I get a free pizza, I'm good.
And what about nachos? We haven't done nachos.
Did you have pizza Friday? I thought of you guys.
David LaCrosse.
Maybe we'll do nachos
$10
tomorrow.
super chat. I love the Trump ad with Trump surprising the troops in Iraq, narrated by Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Very moving. I don't know if I've seen that. Do we play that one?
I haven't seen that one yet.
Did we have Friday pizza?
Thank you for the super chat, by the way.
I think they did.
Yeah. Oh, you weren't here. Oh, they did.
I wasn't here.
Big D brought in pizza and wingdings. Oh, Kevin brought in pizza. Really? What did you bring in?
Unannounced, yeah.
White pizza?
Meat lovers.
Oh, meat lovers. That's a good one. I like that one right there.
Yeah, I want to see this, but you know what? that mall is losing businesses left and right, but the pizza place was packed.
Which mall is that?
By Walmart?
Yeah, the
Oh, yeah, Independence Plaza. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the business is gone, but the pizza joint was
La
jumping.
Slice, he's the best.
Yeah, pizza joint was jumping.
He's got one of the best pizzas on the island.
I want to see what else is good there.
A lot of the
So
stuff.
they got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
I like that place. The La Slice.
Harry Oates checking in.
Harry Oates, he actually checks in.
No way.
Harry
No.
sent me a text here.
Oh.
Let's see. Harry's always up on the news.
Who that
Oh, yeah.
nation?
Harris will sit down with CNN for her first interview since launching presidential bid. It's almost like Harry's not watching the show.
You can check our reruns for more details.
Thanks, Harry. We just talked about that like 10 minutes ago.
Harry, breaking news.
John Solomon breaking news.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah?
Nancy Pelosi expressed regret National Guard wasn't pre-positioned to protect Capitol on January 6th, new video reveals. All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night. Glad you're in. Slick's doing sports. Doug Otto's going to do some more news. Aaron Fran holding it down as always. If you're watching on social media, make sure you hit the like and subscribe, whatever platform you're on. We appreciate you watching. Let's do some news with the host of the Kevin Downey Jr. Show, 10 to 11 weekday mornings, and I think he even takes calls. A couple of those mornings as well, so you can call in. Well, you can give the number here, but 103.9 WLI News on Long Island, New York, and then number one DMA, of course, that is the New York market. Mr. Downey Jr., how are you?
Thank you, sir. I'm doing well, thank you. And you know what? You can listen at home, too. You can go to linewsradio.com, or you can download the LI News app. And no matter where you are, we've got Staff Sergeant Arby listening, who found me from the show.
Yeah, SSGT.
Great.
Yeah. So tonight my rap name is Vanilla Privilege. And sorry, Lil Vanilla
Yeah, you
Privilege.
gotta do Lil.
Little Vanilla Privilege.
Lil
So
Vanilla.
my least favorite reptile in the world, Mark Zuckerberg, has kind of sort of fallen on his sword. He admitted Monday that he was repeatedly pressured by the Biden-Harris administration to censor people like probably like you, me, us, who said,
show.
the network. Hey, these clot shots are bogus. They don't work. And ivermectin does work. He had to shoot that down. It does work, though. I can prove that. But he admitted he was pressured, and he regrets caving to the pressure. Although, as Big D said yesterday, the guy who runs Telegram is currently in prison because they can't control him.
Yeah.
So I kind of wonder if Mark Zuckerberg here was just looking out to save himself. Check this. Here's the best part of the whole letter he wrote. Apart from content moderation, I want to address the contributions I made during the last presidential cycle to support electoral infrastructure. This is what we call the Zuckerbucks.
Zuckerbuck.
$419 million he paid out to I think it was a lot of counties, but it was all lefty counties. I wanted to get the vote out. He said, let's see, I want to the contributions I made during the last presidential cycle. The idea here was to make sure local election jurisdictions across the country had the resources they needed to help people vote safely during a global pandemic that 99.5% of the population would survive. I made these contributions through the Chan Zuckerberg initiative and blah, blah, blah. And I'll get to the bottom part. He says, I know some people think it benefited one party, but I won't be doing that. Again, I won't be playing a role. I don't plan on making a similar contribution this cycle, which means the Democrats are out $419 million precisionally directed dollars into blue districts, toilet towns usually, Baltimore, Detroit, what have you. And that's actually great news for people who think elections should be fair, and horrible news for communists. But he's kind of falling on his sword. Now the question is, why would he?
Yes, that's exactly right.
Now,
He's in CYA mode, or he's getting ahead of something? Because I mean, till he endorses Trump in 2024, I don't believe the little nerd.
See, that's my theory. My theory is he knows that there's going to be a change, and he's got to get on the right side because the government is going to change hands. And now all of a sudden, the guy that he was basically censoring is going to have at it.
Yep.
Are you trying to say he's afraid of Republicans coming?
I think he's a little bit of afraid. Yeah.
Find their cojones to actually try to do something to anybody? I wouldn't be if I was him. What are they going to do? Write me a sternly worded letter? Send out some mean tweets? What are they going to do? Nothing.
We'll see. I think he's trying to cover his ass. His butt. Sorry.
Put a number one in the chat if you think the Republicans would ever do anything to go after any of these guys. And our number two, if you think they're a bunch of wussies. Let's see which one wins, one or two. Go. All right. What else, Kev?
Well, Hans von Spakovsky, he's a former federal election
friend of the show. He's been on the show.
Yeah, he's. It's hard to say that name without putting on some sort of accent. That wasn't even a real accent. He said Zuckerberg's.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing at the numbers rolling by. It's pretty much universal.
He said the Zuckerberg dollars went to 2,500 counties in 49 states where Zuckerberg thought he could make a difference by helping the enemy, the Marxists. And he says, this is Mr. Spakovsky's words. He goes, "My reaction is that this was a carefully orchestrated attempt to convert official government election offices into get-out-the-vote operations for one political party and to insert political operatives into election offices in order to influence and manipulate the outcome of the election," said Mr. Hans von Spakovsky. He's a Republican, and he works for the Heritage Foundation. He's a very sharp guy. If you can find something he wrote, I recommend you reading it. But he says all states should ban private funding of government election offices, no matter what the source. So this guy is saying the $419 million that Zuckerberg spent went entirely to the Democrats. And he even says here, we got a reign in big tech, and he says it also was used to silence Republican voices. That's the part that no one seems to be wanting to talk about. So again, big news: Zuckerbucks are out, and like it's cover your bahookie is what I'm calling it. A cover your bahookie time.
Yeah, exactly. Number, by the way, it's about 99% to 1%. Number two wins out. That they're a bunch of wussies who aren't going to do anything. They're just not. They're not going to do anything. No matter who's in charge of the government, they're not going to do anything. So. All right, we'll do some more news with Kevin Downey Jr., but let's do some sports with Slick. Sports is brought to you by our friend Mike Lindell and MyPillow. LFS6B is the code to use if you shop at MyPillow. Slick, what's going on?
All right, Big D. Well, I was reporting on it all week up until I departed and left for a while, but I want to talk about the Little League World Series. We had a winner, and guess where it was from? The Sunshine State.
New Jersey.
No, sir.
Okay.
Florida Little League team comforts Chinese Taipei after beating them in World Series on an error. The title is the first ever for a team from the Sunshine State and came after a perfect bunt in an extra innings scored the game-winning run. This is Anna Lazarus Kaplan of People magazine. In a show of good sportsmanship, Florida players consoled members of the Chinese Taipei team after a dramatic ending to the Little League World Series championship game. Players from the Lake Mary, Florida team could be seen embracing their opponents, a dominant team who previously rolled through the 10-day tournament, as some of the Chinese Taipei squad were overcome with emotion after the heartbreaking loss. With the game tied 1-1 in extra innings, the team from Lake Mary, Florida bunted, drawing the Chinese Taipei first baseman away from the bag. However, a defensive miscue caused the pitcher to throw the ball to first base, sending the ball into the outfield. Florida's Lathan Norton was able to easily score from second base, and the team clinched the championship. The win continued the U.S. streak of 6 consecutive championships. It was the first for the suburban Orlando team and the first ever title for a team from Florida. For Norton, who was sick with 102-degree fever and unable to play in the game on Saturday, helping his team win was particularly special. It was the greatest feeling ever, Norton said, according to the Associated Press. I still haven't had time to let it all sink in, but it feels like the most amazing thing ever. At that age, it must be. Teams from from Taiwan have been stellar for decades, winning 17 titles from 69 to 96, but since then, a team from the country had only made one other appearance in 2009 before Sunday, per the AP. The loss was seemingly hard for everyone involved, including the team's coaches, who looked crestfallen after the final. They did not appear at the post-game news conference, multiple outlets reported. You know, had the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, but nice sportsmanship.
I saw the clip of the final play, and man, oh man, second baseman, woo boy, made the wrong decision on the Chinese team. He covered second base, and there was nobody to cover there. His job was supposed to go to first, because the first baseman was charging. And you could even see it on the replay, like, you know, you see him running to second base, and the pitcher who got the ball just instinctively, he's supposed to throw to first. Yeah. That's what he's supposed to do. The ball just sailed. Nobody was there.
Yeah, Chinese team. Amazing. Yeah, Chinese team had bad fortune. That's a Rapid Sports Big D. Back to you.
All right, hour 2 coming up live from Studio 6B.
Good thing the team wasn't Colombia. They'd kill those kids.
They would.
Handsome Smitty on YouTube says, fastest 2 hours of my life every weekday. Thank you very much.
Come on. Harry Oates got any more breaking news coming in?
No.
Wow, yeah, get a check got up to big. They shot up too. 91.82. Damon reads articles better than anyone. Thumb picker 2 from the Getter chat.
Well, thank you very much.
They're not even involved. They don't even hear this break, right? The Getter chat. Some people do multiple devices. They have multiple, ways of watching the show.
Someone wants Stevie Ray Vaughan. Sarah does. You know what? It has to be music that isn't.
That we have a license.
Yeah.
We can't.
We used to play here and there.
We can sneak by one in a while, but no.
When Harry DJs, he plays all licensed stuff.
Yeah, and then we get kicked off of YouTube and every other place when Harry thinks he's
that's the problem.
Casey Kasem.
No, Wolfman Jack. That's what he looks like.
He needs to start bringing in, their licensing money for that.
Right.
The funny thing is, even if you had the license, you went to SoundScan or one of the ones who do online licensing, whatever it's called, whatever. YouTube doesn't even care. They'll still flag it if they hear a real song.
Yeah, unless you have auto cleared ahead of time, it gets flagged, and then you have to fight the flag.
Yeah.
Basically, you have to show that you have the license, and then they take it back.
Yep. Here comes Delgado, who's getting you water. Hey, Gunga Din, bring the water in.
Gunga Din.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Hour 2 live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night. Glad you're in. Slick's doing sports. Rick Delgado's doing the news. Kevin Downey Jr. is doing the news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down as always. Glad you're in on a Tuesday night. Lots to talk about in Hour 2. Talked about in Hour 1 about Kamala Harris, and she's decided to do an interview. You said Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday.
Hard-hitter. Hard-hitting interview with Dana Bash from CNN. And she will not be by herself. She will bring her service dog with her on the plane if she needs help. That would be Tim Waltz. Tim Waltz will be with her at CNN.
I bet you he does the majority of the talking.
And Scott Jennings, who is the lone voice of semi-reason on CNN, was on tonight. And here's his thoughts on Harris and Waltz sitting down with CNN for their first joint interview.
Yeah, it's a joint interview, right?
Since the campaign began. Here it is.
Is the line now going to be, well, why isn't she doing it by herself?
Yeah, I do think people are going to bring that up. Look, I have great confidence in Dana and CNN to do this. I think it's incredibly weak sauce to show up with your running mate. The fact that they don't have enough confidence in her to let her sit herself, the actual top of the ticket, and do a single interview. In fact, I think the hand-wringing and the gyrations over this over the last month show a troubling lack of confidence in her political ability, which also makes you wonder as a voter, well, what kind of president would you be if this kind of a small-time decision, can we do an interview or not, what does that look like for your decision-making process, so on? So, I think Republicans are going to think it's pretty weak to show up with effectively someone to take up half the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's beyond weak. It's pathetic. It's pathetic on many levels that they made this decision to do this. You would think if you had a team around you that was honest with you, they'd say, that's probably not a great idea, ma'am. Do you want to do your first sit-down interview as the major party candidate? You want to do it with him? We would advise against that for many reasons. But they don't even, those discussions probably don't even happen.
From what I understand, she just steamrolls everybody and curses at them.
Well, they think, let's call Dana and just make sure, Dana, do you think you can get her through this on her own, or do you think we need to have Tim there with her? Those are the discussions that they probably have. I mean, it's so pathetic on so many levels, like you said, that the fact that they, like Scott said, they did all this hand-wringing, whether that she would even do an interview. Her handlers go on the Sunday shows, and again, they go on these shows, and they're all just propped up and from the host. They have nothing ever to worry about any serious questions. And they go on there, and they still wouldn't answer what she would do. Well, she wants to have one by the end of the month. Well, here we are. And now they decide on Dana Bash, and they decide that she can't do it by herself. Tim Waltz has to be with her.
Right, but they weren't talking about this month or next month. Or the month after that. I think they were thinking maybe March. Maybe that'd be a good time to do an interview.
Yeah, January 21st. I told you that would be the first one. And listen, in the next breath, if I'm them, you can't blame them. As soon as she opens her mouth, what's going to happen. We've seen it. If it walks like a duck, what's the old sayings? She's proven it time and time again. So I guess in some respects I say this, then in the next breath I say, well, if I was on their team, I probably would be handling this the same way, because you can't. She's as unskilled as any politician we've ever seen. You can't have her in a unscripted moment or unscripted situation, because she could blow the whole thing in one answer.
Right. Well, you can have her, but like you said, she would blow up the entire thing with just one. Maybe question or answer or back and forth, because we've seen, what's great about, the free speech that you enjoy now on Twitter X is that we're seeing all these old clips of her doing these one-on-one interviews. And it's amazing how, wow, she really is a communist. When you hear some of the things that she stands for, like she wants to, if nothing happens in the first 100 days in my administration, we'll come after. I'll take action and we'll get it done. Talking about taking guns, talking about taking over companies. This is not the rhetoric of of someone that is for the United States form of government. She's more of, hey, let's turn this place into Venezuela and let's have a party, because that's all she talks about. And then you got Tim Walz. He's just as bad as she is.
He's being investigated for his ties to China.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is not live, I believe, on Thursday. It's pre-taped.
What?
Oh. So they're going to pre-tape it.
I believe it's pre-taped, I believe, is what the deal is. So they can edit. So, I mean,
wow,
what is the point of this?
Yeah. That's really bad.
But the problem is that we're the only ones who care.
Yeah.
Her voters would just be as happy to see her do something on January 21st for the first time. Answer a question then.
You know what, though? And again, something we were talking about last night, and Slick, you missed it, because we were talking about if you feel like things are starting to change. Do you feel like things are, it's almost like a bubbling up, or like a soup or a volcano where the thing starts to slowly starts to percolate a little bit more. And I equate that, because I was thinking about that again today, to the point of when Rudy Giuliani became, won his first mayor's race in New York City, and it was because people had just had enough, and they couldn't take being lied to anymore. Even Democrats were like, we can't do this anymore. And I feel like we're starting to see a lot of that come from Democrats. I watched a little bit of the RFK stuff with Tucker today. And the stuff that he was saying is just like, man, when he talks about what the Democratic Party used to stand for and now what they do, he's like, there is no, it doesn't look like anything.
No.
What he grew up with, what they've been throughout the years, it's amazing. So I think maybe we are starting to see some of that bubbling up.
Someone brought to our attention the ad, I think, that Sarah Huckabee Sanders voices. You want to see some of this from Team Trump today? Dropped this. Let's take a look at this.
I'm Jim McCollum. I'm the father of Marine Lance Corporal Riley James McCollum, and I'm here to speak for him.
My name's Alicia Lopez.
I'm Herman Lopez, and we're the parents of our son, Hunter Lopez, the U.S. Marine stationed in Camp Pendleton, San Diego, California, who passed away on August 26, 2021 in Kabul, Afghanistan.
My name is Abby Sanchez, and I am the voice for my brother, Corporal Humberto Sanchez. My name is Coro Briceno, and I am Corporal Humberto Sanchez's mother.
My name is Stephen Nakui. I'm here for my son, Kareem Nakui. I'm here today to give my son a voice.
My name is Cheryl Jules. I am Sergeant Nicole G's aunt. She was a U.S. Marine that was killed in the Kabul, Afghanistan withdrawal.
My name is Christy Shamblin, and I'm here for Sergeant Nicole G, United States Marine, who was killed in the Afghanistan exit.
My name is Kelly Barnett. I'm here to give a voice to my son, my best friend, Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover.
And my name's Darren Hoover, and I'm here to give voice as well for our son, Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover.
When we started hearing that the Taliban was moving in, that there wasn't more military being deployed, and that they had decided that the Taliban was our security, that was when I became terrified. They were just kind of left there, hung out to dry.
Breaking news for you from Afghanistan, where there are significant casualties, including some Americans from a
I was at work
attack outside the country.
and heard about it. Instantly had that just chill go through me, and I started sending messages.
I'm talking to people. I'm calling his girlfriend. I'm saying, well, have you heard from him? Calling his sisters. Have you heard from him? You know, we're texting. We're saying, please, just send us a text. Just whatever. Just let us know that you're okay.
When all the explosions went off, I had messaged her and I said, hey, I know you can't say anything, but, just an emoji. Just a bubble.
And then 3:30 in the morning that night, I got the knock on the door. You know, there's no other reason 2 Marines are standing on your door.
Right away, they told you, we have news about your son, and he just passed away. I just start screaming. I throw myself on the floor. I pull up the street and I see a white van. And once I saw them, I knew. It's surreal. Seeing all those flag-draped coffins in the back of a C-17 is something you'll never forget. And it really drives home that, you know, these young men and women gave the ultimate sacrifice. They had all the families within this large room. The president showed up and that it wasn't what I was expecting.
You know, this guy's sitting across from me on that tarmac, and he keeps looking at his watch.
Biden did not want to be there. I don't know what he wanted to do, but he did not want to be there. He looked at his watch multiple times. I saw it 3 times.
He didn't say anything about Riley. And to this day, he has yet to say those 13 kids' names.
And that makes me so upset because those kids were serving their country. Those kids, they were giving their life for this country. And I always said they were thinking that their commander-in-chief was gonna have their back because they were fighting for this country, and that didn't happen. The administration, the White House, our president has never once mentioned their names, not one of them.
Honestly, I don't feel like Joe Biden cared.
He just had no empathy for us at all.
I do think incompetence played a huge factor in what happened. Bad decision, bad leadership, and it all starts at the top.
Joe Biden should not be leading this country.
There was no point in making that hard deadline August 31st. It was 100% a political stunt.
He let my son down. He let the 13 down. He let the 45 wounded down. He let those 174 civilians down. He let our country down.
And then what it hurts the most is that they could be here.
We fully understand we can't bring back our kids, but there are thousands and thousands more out there that are going to come home the same way if something doesn't change. We're the United States of America. We can do better by our men and women that are risking their lives for this country. We can do better for them than that.
Wow. Powerful.
To this day, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have never mentioned these fallen soldiers' names. President Trump will never forget them.
That wasn't what I thought it was, but it was worth watching either way. Live from Studio 6B, we're back after this.
Disgrace.
Wow.
I thought that was the Sarah Sanders thing. Obviously, it wasn't. Holy cow, that was
pretty powerful.
That was very powerful. Wow, well done. And what's scary is she gets in, there'll be more of that, Big D. There'll be more of this crap, more of this incompetence, and more of this lack of respect for the military and care. And commander-in-chief, can you imagine this thing as a commander-in-chief?
No.
I say thing. Come on, this is the crazy. Man. Crazy. How's the YouTube, Rick?
The YouTubes. I don't know.
Well, the YouTube.
Let me jump over there.
Partners in hotels. If she wins, we are screwed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sue on YouTube, thanks for playing that, Damon. You're welcome.
JBuck169 on the Rumble. This breaks my heart. Cindy Graff, heartbreaking. It is.
Yeah. Totally.
And to think that scumbag hasn't said their names.
Oh, that's right. We have some. Do we have okay. Okay.
Yeah, reads.
Big Jim Gumbo, yes. Every time I see Biden walking on TV somewhere, he reminds me of a zombie in a poorly designed video game. The old one. They just kind of, but they never really catch up to you.
Sound like the blues on a Tuesday night, real live from Studio 6B. Let me talk to you about our friends over at AMAC. There's an organization that still backs Obamacare, gun control, and extreme transgender policies that endanger our kids. They claim to be bipartisan, but last year, 95% of their donations went to Democrats. That, of course, I'm talking about AARP. And that they don't represent the values of American seniors. Fortunately, there's a conservative alternative, and that, of course, is AMAC. The Association of Mature American Citizens proudly champions Americans' right to free speech, religious liberty, and the Second Amendment. AMAC defends parents' rights to protect their children and is fighting to restore America's election integrity. With more than 2 million members nationwide, AMAC is pro-faith, pro-family, and pro-freedom. We're proud to partner with AMAC, proud to be AMAC members, and encourage you to join as well today. Send AARP a strong message that they don't represent conservative seniors. Join AMAC today at amac.us/Studio 6B. That's amac.us/Studio 6B. They've always got great deals, by the way, to sign up as well. Membership is like nothing. You get great stuff along with it. So go to amac.us/Studio 6B. Sign up. AMAC, pro-faith, pro-family, pro-freedom. Do it today. All right, 18 past the hour. Let's try to do some sports and some news. We got Philip Patrick from Birch Gold's going to join us at 9:30. Slick, we'll start with you. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. MyPillow LFS6B is the code to use. MyPillow.com/LFS6B if you want to get to all the best deals for this audience. And we've got a brand new deal starting, I think right now. The shirt that Kevin was wearing the other night. I forget what it says. A bunch of stuff on it. It's a good looking shirt.
It's one of those.
That shirt, yeah.
We're going to give that shirt free to anybody who uses our code now through September. So that's the new offer for September, and it's a good-looking shirt. Bunch of different colors. It's on the website. It says right on it, free with any MyPillow purchase. LFS6B is the code to use. Slick, what's going on?
Get you a bunch of stuff T-shirt while they're hot, Big D. Come on, Major League Baseball scores. Here we go.
I can't remember what it says.
All right, well, that's...
Unvaccinated, conservative, meat-eating, gun-toting. How else can I offend you today? Yeah, I love that.
Nice. So. Good old American pie. Here we go. Major League Baseball. No score there. Still Tigers and Angels trying to get it going. Must be a rain delay. It says delayed. Cubs right now 9-3 over the Pirates. Top of the ninth. Ooh, the Pirates, they're in the basement. Cincinnati's chasing them because they're losing to the A's right now 5-2. Top of the ninth as well. Another rain delay. Guardians trailing the Royals 2-1 there. Nationals over the Yankees 4-2. Top of the ninth inning. Yankees have men on first and second. Rick, I think that game might be over now. Yankees lost. Whoop. Braves 4-0 over the Twins. Bottom of the fifth. Red Sox over the Blue Jays 6-2. We have the Padres over the Cards 4-3. Bottom fifth. tied Giants and Brewers at 2, top of the 5th as well. Rain delay for the Rangers and White Sox. No score there. Rockies 4-0 over the Marlins, bottom of the 2nd. Earlier this evening, final, Phillies down the Astros 5-zip. And yes, the Nationals that just went final did defeat the Yankees in D.C. 4-2. Mets and Diamondbacks coming up in about 20 minutes. First pitch in Arizona. Rays and Mariners as well in Seattle. And the Orioles and Dodgers 10-10 first pitch. U.S. Open. Now we got the women's scores right now. And Raducanu is right now in a good one. She lost the first set 6-1. Won the second set 6-3 and is up 1-0 in the third set there. Round 1 in the U.S. Open Flushing. And who else? Iga Swiatek, world number 1, made easy work today. 6-4, 7-6 over Rakimova. And Arina Rybakina, she also won today. 6-1, 7-6 over Di Avia. And Jessica Pegula has not played yet. She's taking on Rogers. That game is coming up. That match is coming up at 10 o'clock. I gave you the men earlier this evening. Let's see. We got NFL action, guys. How about the Cleveland Browns keeping 4 quarterbacks? I guess they don't have a lot of faith in Deshaun Watson's abilities this year, but the Browns are keeping 4 quarterbacks. So don't know why, but that's what's going on. Lions are reportedly taking intriguing gamble on a free agent wide receiver. So that's Tim Patrick of the Denver Broncos going to them. The Cowboys released Malik Davis earlier today, running back, so somebody will be sure to grab him. A lot of movement going around, Big D. I heard Dalvin Cook is in Dallas as well, looking at possibly signing on as a running back for them, even though they got old Zeke Elliott, but I think Dalvin Cook might be at the end of his career. He's had a couple of knee injuries. So that's what we got going on. I'll keep you on track on some of the movement as well tomorrow night. A lot of cuts today in the NFL. I'm sure everybody's checking their rosters for their favorite teams because we got odds makers coming up, Big D. Friday, we're going to kick off the NCAA, right? Football. We're going to get going Friday. We'll do some odds makers for the weekend.
Yeah, we got actually college on Thursday night. We got a bunch of games on Thursday
a couple
as
of games
well.
Thursday night before we
Thursday,
get to
Friday, Saturday, week 1 here of college football, and then of course
good stuff. And of course, NFL next week.
NFL starts with the odds makers with the audience.
Yeah,
September 8th.
Ooh.
Week 1. 18 weeks.
September
Top
8th.
3 come back for the playoff selections.
Come on. Can't wait.
Should be good.
It's a wrap in sports, Big D. Back to you.
Slick, very good sports brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the code to use at checkout. Rick Delgado. News is brought to you by 7 Cells. LFS6B is the code to use there. 10% off whatever you put in your cart at our friends at 7 Cells. Great stuff for your health, for your skin. Check them out, 7cells.com. What's going on?
All right. Well, they're wheeling out the monkeypox, of course, trying to get everybody scared over the monkeypox, or the mpox as they like to call it. But now, believe it or not, COVID is trying to come back as well, as COVID surge forces schools to close and they bring back pandemic-like era measures. Have you heard about this?
No, but I mean,
well, they got to start
really?
somewhere.
We're still doing this?
Yeah, still doing this. And in 2 states you wouldn't expect. Alabama and Tennessee announced the closure of 2 schools, affecting more than 1,000 children just days into the new academic year, with officials saying the virus had forced them to shut and carry out a deep clean.
Is this a different strand that's affecting kids more than the 0.00001% that the others have?
I don't really know. At one of the schools, children had to abandon their desks. They really make it seem like it's like, oh my God, you can't touch anything, and revert to remote learning for 2 days, a move reminiscent of the early days of COVID. The closures, both in Republican states, came despite a mountain of evidence suggesting they hamper children's learning, social interactions, and ability to develop natural immunity to common infections. And there are fears that more disruption could be in store for students in the coming months. Like clockwork, getting ready for the election in many schools and states like New York, New Jersey, and Michigan after the Labor Day weekend. They even know when it's going to happen. Johnson Abernathy Greats High School in Montgomery, Alabama, which has 1,500 students, made the decision to switch to virtual classes just 4 days into the new academic year after 15 teachers caught COVID. So the teachers are in on it. Staff and kids were told to go home and stay there August 14th and 15th and attend lessons via remote learning. The school is now reopened with masks and disinfection wipes available in every classroom.
I mean, really?
Really?
I wrote about this at PJ, the headline, it's still August, but people are already putting up their election pandemic decorations. And everything you said is correct. And so I did some digging, like why would Alabama and Tennessee do this? Well, the mayor of Montgomery, Alabama, he's a progressive. He's a leftist. So he's going to do it. I couldn't find a political affiliation for the person running Humboldt, Tennessee. But you know what? If this doesn't work, they also have something in Massachusetts. They're cracking down. They call it EEE. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about that one.
Is that the mosquito thing?
That's the mosquito thing. One older guy, he's 80. He came down with EEE. So they're asking the whole town to stay home after 5 p.m. Come home, stay home.
Right, after 5, because that's when mosquitoes carrying the EEE, they get to go out and start chasing people around.
Yep, there you go.
It's actually one giant mosquito, so they have to look out.
You can see them coming.
Yeah.
And those 15 teachers, that was out of a staff of 127. So what is that, like 8-9%?
That's basically what usually happens every day in school, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Maybe it's us.
Yeah.
All right, 26 past the hour, live from Studio 6B. Phil Patrick from Rich Gold will join us. We'll see where we're going with the inflation coming up next. Friday we pick. I don't know. What are we going to do that week? We're going to pick Thursday on Thursday and then pick the weekend on Friday?
Yeah.
So 2 appearances?
Yeah, why not? It's a father. It's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Claire McCaskill said, anyone who thinks a former courtroom prosecutor needs notes to speak has never been one.
Oh.
The ultimate training ground for thinking on your feet. Trust me, there's no script. Mike Cernovich said, yeah, she's bringing a white man to do the talking for her.
Yep.
She can't even do the interview by herself.
She's stringing old Tampon Tim along.
Yeah.
You know that.
Mansplaining.
Okay.
Well, get it, chat's over 10. They're going to get shoes tonight. Look out. How about the YouTube? My friends on the YouTube. I'm trying to do double time here.
I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, nice YouTube chat. We're getting up there.
Pre-taped, live is too risky. Joint interview, they're afraid of sending her out solo. Dana Bash does the questioning. Could this get any worse?
Yes, I'm sure it could.
Did you mention it's pre-taped?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard that Tampax is the sponsor, too, for that segment. This is brought to you by the Tampax for Tampon Tim.
Jack Smith has filed a superseding indictment. Someone said, holy panic, likely to backfire move, Batman. Did you watch Trump with Sean Ryan yet? Me neither. And Trump did Dr. Phil again, which I haven't seen that either. Have you seen RFK's old former running mate there, Nicole Shanahan, whatever her name is, out there doing some interviews? Man, she is taking the blowtorch to Kamala Harris too.
Really?
She's been
really?
pretty fiery, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
What was he polling, about 7?
She was probably one of those, because from what I understand,
he was polling way more.
Oh, was he?
From what I
The
understand,
Democratic side.
She was
he was like
a,
as high as 28 at some points.
she was a big Democrat
I
contributor.
didn't realize he got that high.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, she got into it and was
obviously.
like, oh, these people are fucking assholes.
Yeah, well, people were.
That he does.
All right, right, 30 minutes past the hour, live from Studio 6B on a Tuesday night, August 27th. Real America's Voice. Slick's doing sports. Delgado's doing the news. Kevin Downey Jr. is going to do some more news as well. Aaron and Fran holding it down. Glad you're in. Lots to talk about. But right now, please welcome one of our favorite people back to the show. Of course, he's a precious metal specialist over at Birch Gold. That would be one Philip Patrick. Mr. Patrick, how are you? Welcome back to the show.
Doing well. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, it's always great to have you on to talk about these things that I love to talk about. I saw Jerome Powell out at Jackson Hole last Friday. Of course, everybody was looking forward to how dovish he was going to be. And, well, he was pretty dovish. I mean, he pretty much declared victory on inflation, kind of said it's time to change up the policy. We've been a little too tight. Everyone's expecting at least 25 in September. What do you say about his Jackson Hole speech? Anything in there surprise you?
Yeah, not especially. Look, at the end of the day, I think Powell now has his legacy in mind. What did surprise me, I suppose, was his attempt to rewrite history. He said, on the one hand, that he believed that the Federal Reserve didn't play much of a role, if any, in causing inflation. But the flip side is he took praise credit for ending the inflationary surge, which I thought was a little bizarre. But regardless, as you suggested, the Fed is pivoting now. He stated that the situation has changed. The upside risks to inflation have diminished, and the downside risks to employment have increased. So regardless, he's definitely set expectations for a rate reduction. I mean, the betting market's priced in 100% chance, so it's certainly happening. They can rationalize this using employment numbers, but by pretending the inflation fight is over when it's still 50% above their target, I think is a little bit worrying.
Well, I'll tell you, Peter Schiff today, who is obviously a big gold bug, echoed your thoughts. He said, Powell's ready to start cutting rates, which is a huge mistake because this policy is still too loose, according to Peter Schiff. So he's kind of on board with what you're saying. He thinks policy is too loose, and this is going to end up being a mistake.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look at the Bank of Canada. They were making real progress with inflation. They brought headline inflation down to about 2.8%, said, hey, job's done, quarter point drop, and the next report came in at 3.8. You couple that with huge deficit spending for the administration, I think it could be a recipe for disaster.
So let's talk about another big thing that's happened here in the last couple of weeks. And what's funny about this one is that we talked about this on this show, and we may have even talked about it with you, at least in passing, back in March, because Zero Hedge had a big piece on it out of the Philadelphia Fed, and we mentioned it, that the Bureau of Labor Statistics would be revising jobs down by 800,000. This was back in March. It caught my attention, and we talked about it then. And then, of course, just recently, last week, they come out and say almost the exact number. They revised jobs that we were told were created down by 815,000. Biggest jobs revision, I think, in the last 15, 20 years. What do we make of this?
Yeah, I mean, look, for one thing, it goes a long way, I think, to explaining the disconnect between the White House and the American people. There's a big difference between looking at job reports on a government spreadsheet and going out there, making phone calls, pounding the pavement and trying to find a job. But look, I don't think the BLS was over-reporting jobs deliberately. It's not as if anyone wasn't going to find out, right? We were talking about it months ago. Bloomberg ran a report weeks before saying about 500,000 jobs overstated. What really worries me, though, is sort of what we talked about before, and that is, Chairman Powell keeps telling us that the Fed is data dependent, and that's fine. They should be. The downside is that their decisions are only as good as their data. And here in the real world, we understand you can't lower grocery prices by fudging a spreadsheet. But it's going to make it, I think, much, much harder for businesses, for state and local governments, even for people like Chairman Powell to plan and make decisions based on data when the data is as flawed as it is.
Yeah. When you think about rate cuts, of course, if you're an asset holder of any kind of asset, you think of rate cuts as, kind of what you look forward to. But, when the Fed starts cutting rates, it's not always as a rosy picture as some people think. If you look back in history, Fed cut rates. The S&P, I think both times in the early 2000s and 2008 when we were in similar economic situations, when the Fed cut rates, the S&P pulled back about 45% both times. It has not been great initially. When the money printer comes back on somewhere down the road, of course, assets will always find their way up. But what do rate cuts mean to the economy? What will change initially as we start to now loosen a little bit?
Look, I think you hit the nail on the head, actually. Mortgage rates may decline a small amount, 25 basis points, 0.25%, but I don't think a huge amount will change with a fairly nominal rate cut. But you're right. The problem with the Federal Reserve is they've been late always with their rate cuts. Over the last 40 years, the Fed has begun lowering interest rates only after recessions have officially begun. That was the dot-com boom, the great financial crisis, the savings and loan crisis, and the early 90s recession. Every single time. It may be the best perfect track record, or the only perfect track record that the Fed has. I just don't think it's going to have a dramatic effect on the economy. I think it's going to lead the Fed to more money printing. And if we continue down the path of lowering interest rates, I think inflation will surge. So I'm not sure it's going to prevent recession. And I think it could compound inflation longer term. I'm concerned.
Yeah. Let's talk about a couple of the headlines that happened. Gold's sitting around $25.20 right now. I saw a headline in gold, I think it was last week, that a price of a gold bar broke $1 million for the first time ever. Gold price, as we've said all year, the chart was really set up for gold to have a good run, obviously with everything going on in the economy, tightening rates, all of that. Is this a good time to buy gold right now as we look at a Fed that's about to maybe loosen policy?
Listen, I think so. The best time to buy gold obviously was in 1929. I think the second best time is today. Look, we're seeing gold prices hit all-time highs in terms of numbers, but in terms of value or inflation-adjusted highs, we've still got some scope to move. The real high on gold was hit in January 1980. Gold hit $850 an ounce. That would be around $3,000 an ounce today, inflation adjusted. Obviously at 2,500, we've got a lot of scope to move. What's interesting was what drove it to highs in the 80s, right? It was the stagflationary climate from early 70s to 80s. Gold grew tenfold in that time period. Obviously, we have very similar fundamentals today, but I think there are two key differences. One, people don't have as many options, right? Yes, inflation was surging in the 80s. You were getting 16% in the bank. Today, in real terms, you're losing to inflation sitting in the bank. And then the other big difference, obviously, the US dollar was king back in the 70s. We are seeing de-dollarization around the world. I expect that will continue, and I think it just strengthens the fundamentals for gold. Couple in all-time high demand from central banks around the world, and I think we've got a lot of scope for movement. Most predictions for next year are running in the $3,000 to $4,500 range, so I think we've got a lot of scope for growth.
Phil Patrick from Birch Gold, always great to have you on the show, my friend, and I'm sure we will talk to you after we have a rate cut in September, and we will see, we'll follow up on this conversation and see what happens, but always great to have you on. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I look forward to it.
Phil Patrick from Birch Gold, our friends at Birch Gold, of course, support them. Get your, see if gold is right for you. You know, they do great stuff over there. Obviously, tax-sheltered retirement accounts. You can move an old 401k, 403b, whatever, into precious metal. Great stuff over there. Check them out at Birch Gold. Let's do some news with the host of the Kevin Downey Jr. Show, and that, of course, would be Kevin Downey. What's going on?
Well, you know how Trump's going to end democracy. Check this out. Michigan and Wisconsin have decided they're going to keep RFK Jr. on the ballot just in case some people want to vote for him, and I'm sure some people will, or that's what they're hoping for, and they're fighting to keep off Cornel West. Cornel West is, they're trying to kick him off in, they already kicked him off in Pennsylvania, and they're trying to kick him off in Michigan, Wisconsin. All these are battleground states, so you can see what they're doing. The Secretary of State of Michigan, I have this on some serious inside scoop. She's a seething communist. She's out of her gourd. And she's the one who said, you know what, we don't need to check these ballots, the signatures back in 2020. We don't have to. We're just going to let these go. And she got clown slapped later on by a judge, but it was too late. So now she is keeping Kennedy on. He's tried to get off. They won't let him off in Michigan and Wisconsin. Check this out. This comes from Axios. Kennedy will not be able to remove his name from the ballot. The senior press secretary for Michigan, Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, told the outlet, minor party candidates cannot withdraw, so his name will remain on. However, they somehow found a way to throw Cornel West off in PA, and now they're trying to do it they're trying to throw him off in Michigan and again Wisconsin, but he won one court case in each state that said he has to be on. They're appealing that because they're going to end democracy as their threat. Remember, whatever they accuse Trump of doing, they will eventually do. Watch when this election's over. Even if they don't cheat or they don't cheat enough and Trump wins, they're not going to relinquish power. They're going to try to hold on. They're going to look for every chance they can. But anything they accuse Trump or his MAGA movement of doing, they tend to do.
Yeah, and we've heard them talk about not. That they don't want to cede power. Jamie Raskin talked about it. You hear you hear the rumblings from the Democrats all the time about what they're going to do if Trump wins, which doesn't sound like a peaceful transfer of power. It sounds like we're not going to let this happen.
Yeah, exactly. What did Raskin say?
Raskin said basically that they're not going to certify the election.
Absolutely. So talk about ending democracy.
Yes.
I mean, these clowns just take it another step further every day. Every day there's something new. And now they're and they tell us, though.
Yeah.
As Hitler gave us Mein Kampf, so you knew his playbook, the Democrats, like tyrants, always tell you what's coming, and that is what's coming. And I've been saying this on my radio program since January. This is going to be a bumpy year, and it's going to get even bumpier after the election because they're going to try to cheat, and the nation's not going to take that. And if Trump does win, if it's too big to rig, the Democrats aren't going to take that.
No, they're going to unleash violence in the streets. That's their last gasp.
Yep.
That's what a lot of these illegals are here for. Let's face it.
Before we hit the break, I said that John Solomon had breaking news tonight in an article on Just the News about unearthed video of Pelosi on January 6th.
Yes.
Well, here it is.
She was unearthed.
Validation of the President of the United States. How many times did the members ask, are we prepared? Are we prepared? We're not. Prepared for the worst. We're calling the National Guard. Now, should have been here to they stop we will have totally failed. And we've got to take some responsibility for not holding this board accountable for what could have happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little difficult to hear, but there at the end she says, we have totally failed. We need to take some responsibility. The National Guard should have been there from the beginning.
So she's admitting what has already been alleged by multiple people. She was in charge, including Trump said it. She was in charge, and that she turned down those requests.
Wow. Talk about a bunch of heels.
On a day that Jack Smith refiles, claiming what Trump did on January 6th is worthy of this nonsense he's trying to put him through.
Yeah.
This tape comes out today. Imagine that. All right, we'll wrap it up for a Tuesday. We're back right after this.
No-show.
Wow.
What was that?
Kamala Harris Kamala supporters calling for the director of Arlington National Cemetery to be fired for allowing Donald Trump to attend a memorial service for fallen soldiers on Monday. Turns out Biden, Harris, and Walz were invited 3 times, and they never heard back from them.
Wow.
But, and now they're going crazy, like, how dare you bring that guy? And it says here, they never even reached out to the families. But
the former president. Doesn't matter. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
I mean, when the current one won't show up, I mean, the former one will have to do, right?
Right.
When the current one can't show up.
Right. What about the vice president?
Because he might.
It's our excuse.
Might say or do something stupid. should probably start checking his watch again.
And what are we going to do the night of the debate, man? We have to have wingdings and everything here, huh, Big D? We're going to need tequila for this one. Madon, it's going to be.
When is the debate? September 10th. What night is that?
Is it not? That was the 18th. Is it the 10th?
No, it's the 10th.
10th?
Is that the first?
10th, a Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday, yeah. Is the 10th, you're right.
Yeah, so we'll, it's 2 weeks from tonight.
It's Taco Tuesday.
Better be
It'll have
something.
to be Taco Tuesday with heavy margaritas,
Oof.
which
How long-
I'll make.
Nice.
I'll
How long
make-
do you think it'll last, the debate? Not the competition itself.
Well, it's 90 minutes.
90
They're
minutes.
always 90 minutes.
We got to definitely have something to eat for that one. You're going to make margaritas, Big D?
Yeah.
Nice.
My own special recipe.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Long Island man arrested for brandishing a gun at Tony's Tacos in Franklin
Oh, yeah.
Square.
I saw that.
Wow. Man, Taco Tuesday over there, too, huh? Oof.
Terrorist Tuesday.
Takeout. That was a takeout, all right. That really burns my burrito, Kevin.
The undercover FDA guy who says they should have never told the American public not to take ivermectin because it works.
I just saw that. And I see, that's why I don't think a lot of people know it works.
I take one a week prophylactically. I don't think. All right, 13 to the hour, live from Studio 6B. Let's wrap it up for a Tuesday. We'll start with sports. Sports is brought to you by Mike Lindell. LFS6B is the code to use. Slickster, what's going on?
All right, real quick sweep of the scoreboard right now. Baseball, the Angels 1-0 over the Tigers. They got that one underway, middle of the second in Detroit. The Royals over the Guardians 2-1, still in a rain delay. Braves blanking the Twins 4-zip, top 7. End of 6, Cards edging the Padres 5-4. Brewers over the Giants 4-3, bottom 6, top 4. Rockies 6-1 over the Marlins. No score. Mets and Diamondbacks just underway mid-first. Also mid-first, Rays and Mariners. Cubs defeated the Pirates 5-4. 9-5 earlier tonight. And Phillies blanked the Astros 5-zip. Rest of the scores I gave you earlier. Just want to get to, let's get to this story. Very interesting, Big D. WNBA's Indiana Fever celebrates momentum without mentioning Caitlin Clark even once. Warner Todd Houston, a Breitbart. The Indiana Fever of the Women's National Basketball Association recently published a long report touting the team's amazing success and notes it has become one of the most popular teams in the league, but somehow forgot to mention Caitlin Clark. The only reason for that success, even one time. The August press release thrillingly notes the 1,000% rise in merchandise sales, the team's 800 million online video views, and the fact that it led the league in TV viewership. But what the team does not note is that Clark is the main reason for the amazing jump in popularity. Women's basketball has exploded in popularity, and more fans are tuning in, packing arenas, and engaging in social media to watch their favorite teams and players. The press release reports Indiana in particular has been the epicenter of the sport, with fans engaging with the Fever and their young stars in new ways, and the momentum shows no signs of slowing down as the team makes a push to return to the WNBA playoffs this season. The team goes on to note that the Fever lead the league in attendance for both home and away games. The press release then helpfully adds that its 186,000 total attendance thus far is 265% increase in attendance from last year. Furthermore, the Fever added that the single game sales records have been smashed, and sales in the team store are up more than 1,000%. The surge in Fever fandom is just a monumental online. The Fever hold the top sport in the league in social media engagement, video reports, on and on and on. Again, all these amazing statistics are incredible year over year, but the one thing the team does not bother to celebrate is the one person responsible for all of this, Caitlin Clark. So you wonder what's going on there, that they're not even giving her any credit. Kind of crazy. I have another story a little bit long, though, where model Adrian Curry slams Mark Cuban over Kamala Harris. What policies? The only ones she stated were Trump's. So she kind of challenged him. He basically said, Kamala Harris, this is Cuban, real quick quote, Kamala Harris is not falling in line with Democrats' party policies. Kamala Harris is defining her own policies, and the Democratic Party is falling in line with her, to which Curry replied, what policies? The only ones she has stated were Trump's. So then they went back and forth and bantered. But, good old Mark Cuban there, former, I guess, owner of the Dallas Mavericks, or he owns a small percentage, but we all know what we think about the old Shark Tank guy. Anyway, that's a wrap. It's Sports Big D. Back to you.
All right, Slick, very good. Sports brought to you by Mike Lindell, My Pillow. Let's do a little last news. Delgado's got it. What's going on?
All right. Well, Israel announced they rescued a hostage by Israeli troops in southern Gaza. The IDF announced. Basically, it happened, it was announced Tuesday. The Israeli military announced that it had rescued one of the individuals taken hostage during the Hamas October 7, 2023 attack on Israel, but did not elaborate on what it called a complex operation. Israel's Arab Bedouin minority worked, one of the people from there worked as a guard at a packing factory and has 2 wives and is a father of 11 children. He was rescued in a complex operation. They didn't go into much, but it happened in southern Gaza Strip, the military said, without providing further details. So that's good news coming out of that part of the world, because we haven't heard much coming out of that part of the world. Basically, it's all just Israel bashing. Also, as you may have already heard, former President Donald Trump on Tuesday revealed that he has agreed to debate rules from ABC News ahead of the presidential debate with Vice President Kamala Harris next month. The debate's going to take place September 10th in Philadelphia. It will be moderated by World News Tonight anchor and managing editor David Muir and ABC's live primetime anchor Lindsay Davis. It will be the first debate between Trump and Harris. The first presidential debate back in June was between Donald Trump and President Joe Biden. We all know how that turned out.
Muir could be okay. He might be okay. I mean, if you had to pick someone that you'd give the best chance to not be a total hack, I think he would probably be the one.
We'll see. I guess we'll have to see for ourselves. According to Trump, said the debate rules will be the same as CNN's, and candidates will not be allowed to bring cheat sheets or notes. I guess that's going to hurt Kamala Harris there. I've reached an agreement, he said, with the radical left Democrats for a debate with Comrade Kamala Harris, Trump said in a post on Truth Social. It'll be broadcast live on ABC Fake News, by far the nastiest and most unfair newscaster in the business, on Tuesday, September 10th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We've also been given assurance by ABC that this will be a fair and equitable debate, and neither side will be given questions in advance. No Donna Brazil, he added. Trump said a different third debate is also possible, either through Fox News or NBC News in the future, but Harris has not agreed to either debate so far. The September 10th debate is going to take place at the National Constitution Center, where the historic Declaration of Independence and Constitution were signed. Debate's going to start at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we'll be there broadcasting it and doing our own version of it.
Oh, yeah. Right? Margarita.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be covering it, of course.
We're going to have tacos and nachos and margaritas.
We'll be having our own declarations. Yep.
We're going to fill up Damon's hat with nachos.
Hey, that's not your hat. You can't do that.
It's going to be delicious.
Relax there. Keep your
relax there, Tiger.
I just noticed the tag on there says triple XL. That's a big freaking hat. That can hold a lot of nachos.
It's a size 8.
That's a lot of nachos.
It's an 8-gallon hat.
It's a good-looking hat now. Come on.
That's a beauty. That is a beautiful hat, no doubt.
Aren't you doing the news? What are you making fun of my hat for?
He's doing the nuisance.
Anyhow, so there you have it. That's what I've got for you for news.
There you go.
So you're not doing the news. You're done.
I just finished.
Yep. Hey, Aaron, put up my screen for 1 second, and I'll go to Kevin for his last thing here. This is a great job by Dan McLaughlin. This is exactly why they want to get rid of the Electoral College. He says, I used a hypothetical example here. Republican candidate wins 48 states by identical 54-46 margins. Democrat wins California and New York and D.C. by 75 to 25% margins. Democrat under that scenario wins the national popular vote. But tell me, who should win the presidency? That's a great illustration of why they want to get rid of the Electoral College.
They should.
And why the brilliance of it
doesn't work.
From our founders is why they put it in. Because we don't need the country that much red being controlled and told what to do because of that little blue. Where there resides, 100 million people or whatever it is. More than that, probably. But that's exactly right. The D wins the national popular vote on that map. That's
insane.
That's insane, right?
Yeah, but Trump won New Jersey. Told you.
He didn't win. He doesn't win New Jersey.
Yes, he does.
Oh, he wins on this map. Yeah, he wins New Jersey. Well,
told you.
Yeah, well, we're Krispy Kreme living there.
Okay, let's see. Yeah. All right, Kevin Downey Jr. is here. What else? You got anything last in your news here before we wrap?
Yeah, it's a horrible situation. We've talked about it a little bit. About the 13 heroes killed in Afghanistan. Trump was there to lay the wreath. And check this out. This is from the Post-Millennial. Fuming Kamala Harris supporters are calling for the director of the Arlington National Cemetery to be fired for allowing Donald Trump to attend a Monday memorial service for the fallen soldiers. They kind of forget to mention that Biden, Harris, and Walz were all invited 3 times each. No one got back to them. They never reached out to their families. Although, you know what else I found? There's 13 Heroes Spirits, which is dedicated to the soldiers who fell. I haven't had the chance to try it yet. I don't even know if we can get it around here, but I'm going to look for 13 Heroes Spirits.
All right, as always, we salute our military, active and active police, firefighters, first responders, EMTs, everybody on the front lines protecting us. Thanks, guys, on the show. Aaron, Fran, great job as always. Most of all, thank you to Live from Studio 6B audience. We'll see you tomorrow night. We got J.D. Vance, President Trump, coming up towards the end of the week. We'll be covering some events right here. Might be rolling into Live from Studio 6B, but we'll see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m.